Saving money is not about willpower. It is a matter of being consistent. If you are struggling every month to save money, then this video is for you. You can read all the frugal tips that you want, but at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to lead to success, sort of like with weight loss, is being consistent. Showing up every day and taking advantage of habits that are easy enough to stick to on a regular basis. That is how you will be successful. So in this video, I will give you my easiest money saving tips so that you can stay consistent in your finances. Here's a quick overview. Let's go ahead and get into this. Lifestyle tip number 1, avoiding social media. Now, this is for a couple of reasons. One is social media is how advertisers reach you. I was just briefly scrolling on Facebook and I was met with this ad almost immediately. And if I was actually trying to find clothes, if I was shopping for clothes right now, that would be fine. But in this case, this is just an unnecessary temptation. And by showing me this ad, they are hoping that I will just see something that I love that I just cannot turn down and that I will impulse buy. They are trying to get you to spend your hard-earned money on impulse buys to give you those short-term little dopamine hits that only last long enough for you to hit the buy now button and spend your money. We all know that the satisfaction from making purchases disappears just about as fast as your money does. By the time the things show up at your door, half of the time you've probably forgotten what you even bought. So cutting back the time that you spend on social media can considerably cut back your temptation to spend money. Additionally, avoiding social media, or at least cutting it back, will actually give you back time that you need to do things that saves you money, such as cooking rather than going to restaurants, or cleaning your own house so that you don't have to hire help, and just giving you some of your time back. Even if you're using that time just to relax and for self-care, it will give you that illusion that, oh, I have my time back. Because when you are scrolling mindlessly on social media, time just goes poof into thin air. And kind of along the same lines of avoiding social media, or at least being mindful around our consumption, is being mindful of your consumption of short form videos. Now, those have gained a lot of popularity as of recent, but here's the issue. Studies have actually shown that our attention spans are decreasing because of consuming too much short form content, such as what is explained in this National Library of Medicine on the NIH.gov website, discussing the attention span erosion of youth and its effect on attention span and academic performance. Short form content is more likely to get you into scrolling and mindlessly scrolling without any kind of control. Personally, some of my favorite things to do instead of consuming short form videos is to enjoy long form videos. Long form YouTube videos are amazing because, for one thing, they can be used to learn something new. They can be used to enhance your hobbies, where you can actually see places without having to travel there. And personally, you know what I use a lot of long form YouTube videos for? Inspiration and motivation. If I want to clean my house, sometimes just putting on a YouTube video of someone cleaning, someone besides myself, gives me the motivation to get up and start cleaning. And the same is true with cooking. Sometimes I just like to have a little bit of background noise while I'm cooking to keep my mind preoccupied. Or sometimes I like to listen to music while I'm cooking. So I love consuming social media in terms of long form. But I personally think that consuming too much short form can be very destructive to your time. And typically, short form content doesn't have nearly the value that long form content does. So you're simply scrolling through mostly useless information. And sometimes it could be fun to mindlessly binge scroll through short form videos. But it is something that if you're not mindful with it, it can really suck up a lot of time, and you need that time. And you also don't need your attention span being eroded away. So lifestyle habit number 3 is to avoid waste. And there are many easy ways to avoid wasting food. One of those is to just do a quick perishables inventory of your fruits and vegetables midweek. Just the act of revisiting your fridge and revisiting what you have left in there can bring a sort of mindfulness to what needs to get used up before things can get bad. And besides this once a week, midweek check of perishable fruits and vegetables, the other thing that you can do to cut down on waste and also just make meal prep simpler is to just stick to those tried and true recipes, especially on weeks when your family is very busy, whether you have hobbies or social obligations or your kids have busy seasons in terms of sports and extracurricular activities. If you know you're going to be busy, it's easier to stick to the tried and true recipes that you know exactly how to make, your family loves, and that leftovers will not end up in the garbage. Along the same line is simplifying recipes. Choose recipes with just a few simple ingredients in them. Choose simple, healthy, delicious side dishes such as baked potatoes or baked sweet potatoes. You can easily just stir fry some pretty vegetables together. Some of my favorite combinations are frozen corn and small diced red bell pepper, or zucchini, or carrots and green beans. Simple veggie combinations where you can just simply cook the ingredients, and that's your meal. This just removes a lot of the decision fatigue that comes with trying to decide what's for dinner. And if you do find a recipe that you would like to try, sometimes they'll have a really long list of ingredients, and you could always cut those ingredients down or simplify the list of ingredients so that you have the inspiration of that recipe, but you're not going to the store and buying 20 different items to make that one recipe. What happens if your family really doesn't like it? It's better to stick to a simpler list of ingredients that your family likes, perhaps that you found on sale, and that you're going to be able to use all of it up. Personally, I like to save experimenting new recipes for a weekend day or times when I actually have the time to enjoy the process. But when I am in a hurry, the last thing I want is extra complication when it comes to meal preparation. I just want it to be easy and not complicated. Number 4 is to buy in bulk to lock in the maximum savings on items that you buy on repeat. So that would be things like grains, rice, oats, beans, lentils, paper towels, and toilet paper, hygiene supplies, toothpaste, deodorant, non-perishables that you don't need to worry about going bad. All of those things you're going to need those on a consistent basis, and buying them in larger quantities will lock in deep savings. The other thing that you can do when buying in bulk to save even more is to keep an eye out for sales. For instance, when garbage bags go on sale, deodorant or shampoo goes on sale, you get a great deal on toothpaste. That's when I like to stock up. And I personally keep my bulk by budget separate from my grocery budget, because you're going to get an awesome deal just because it's on sale right now. You're going to need it. It's not going to go bad. So buy in bulk. And we are just a household of 2 people, but there are many things that we save a bundle by buying at Sam's Club in bulk. Lifestyle habit number 5 is to simplify the shopping process. Because you know as well as I do, trying to sort endlessly for coupons or scouring tons and tons of ads every week and trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to buy this week. Some of that can just be so exhausting. And personally, I find that the best way to go about locking in the maximum amount of savings without driving myself bonkers is to focus on the store that I shop at the most. Let's just say it's Kroger, for instance. So I will go in Kroger, and on the very first page of that sales flyer are all of the very best deals that Kroger has that week. So I will stock up on items that are on sale that week, items that I don't normally have in my budget, things that are too expensive to buy regularly. So this is how I would typically strategize sales to make it as simple as possible. For instance, I love a lot of the sales that they run at Kroger, but Kroger, to buy the bulk of your groceries, is super duper expensive. And then I fill in the rest of my groceries from a discount grocer, such as, in my case, it's Aldi. Then I will go over to Aldi or to Sam's Club to buy things that we eat more of, like eggs. And then everything else usually comes from Aldi. And I focus the rest of my grocery list on things that are always cheap. There are certain types of foods that are just always incredibly cheap, such as carrots, potatoes, onions. For instance, things like strawberries are kind of seasonal. They can sometimes be cheap, or they can sometimes cost an arm and a leg. So unless strawberries are in season, I will only buy those when Kroger puts a sale on it. Last but not least, money saving habit number 6 is to avoid those common grocery store mistakes that people often make. For one thing, you're probably going to save the most money if you shop alone. If someone can watch the kids and your spouse, or perhaps your spouse can watch the kids, whatever is the case, but try to go to the grocery store alone, because it's going to be hard enough for you to deal with your temptations in the grocery store without having little temptations in the grocery store with your kids or your spouse, also adding extra things to the cart. That will automatically save you money. And honestly, it's kind of a nice me time, right? That you can just go to the store, it's time by yourself, so that you can calmly get what you need for the week. And along that line is, we all know we should never go grocery shopping when we are hungry. And there's a really good reason why everyone says this, because if you're hungry, you're going to be tempted to grab things that you don't need. And it's just going to result in a lot of extra spending. So yeah, definitely don't go to the grocery store hungry. I also generally find it helpful to just go grocery shopping one time a week, because if you are going in and out of the grocery store all week long, it's just going to be more times for you to get tempted by things you really don't need. So it's better to just do one trip, make a meal plan, make a list, make one trip, go get what you need, and then manage your meals from whatever you have for the rest of the week. And also to shop only on the weekend, because during the week, you're just too stressed out. You got too much going on with work. This is assuming you work Monday through Friday. But whatever your work week is, if you're working, it would be better to shop on a day where you're off so that your mind is clear and you can really focus on what you need to buy. Because stress tends to lead to impulse buys. And as much as possible, trying to avoid processed foods will also save you a bundle on groceries every week. Actually, I was just looking this morning. I wanted to buy a bag of yellow potatoes. And so I typed potatoes in the Sam's Club search bar. And you know what popped up? Processed hash brown potatoes and processed mashed potatoes, boxed mashed potatoes. And the price per pound of processed potatoes was insane. And the price of fresh potatoes was only like 59 cents a pound or something like that. I'll put it up on the screen. but it was many dollars cheaper per pound to buy fresh potatoes, and you can easily make hash browns or mashed potatoes. Those are super easy things to make. Just avoiding the processed food alone can save a ton. Not to mention that processed foods are generally very high in sodium, which is incredibly not heart healthy. And a lot of them also have lots of extra ingredients, things that our body just does not need. They do not provide any type of nutritional value. And so it's better just to not spend money for those kind of things. Here's our list. These easy changes can make for some huge savings over the course of the year. And you can take advantage of this even without budgeting. So these tips make saving incredibly easy and just puts your savings on autopilot. Okay guys, I hope you save tons of money next month on your groceries, and I'll catch you all on the next one.